Welcome to our E3 Leadership Podcast. My name is Jackie White. I'm the founding pastor of Church on the Rock here in Lubbock, Texas. And I have the joy of leading our E3 network, which is a relational network for pastors and church leaders where we walk together and hopefully build successful churches. Today, my special guest is Rob Winkler. Rob's a dear friend. We've been friends for over 40 years, and Rob's a great guy to have on this podcast because he knows a lot. I started to say he knows everything. He doesn't know everything. He knows a lot about leadership in the church world. Rob is married to his wife, Linda. They've raised a phenomenal family. Rob has been a senior pastor. He's been an executive pastor. He's been in virtually every staff position you can imagine in the church world. And he is also the father of 3 sons who are in the ministry. So, Rob, welcome to the
Thank
E3
you.
Leadership Podcast. I'm glad you're with us today. This is actually part 2. It's a continuation of last month's E3 Leadership Podcast. If you hadn't watched it, pull it up and give it a glance. There's some good things in there. Well, Rob, I'm going to jump right in, man. 40 years in ministry. What would you say has been your most enjoyable season of ministry? Was it as a senior guy, as an exec? What's been the most enjoyable thing for you?
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay. Talk about it.
Jackie, first of all, I appreciate who you are, our friendship. You've been a great leader in my life and so many other people. Thank you for what you're doing even here. I started way back with you just as an intern, and then from an intern to a part-time associate to a coordinator, director, staff guy, executive pastor, associate, senior leader. Every terminology we've used in the church world, I think I've worn that hat at least once. The reason I answer that question is yes, is because Linda and I have always tried to live with a ministry mindset, mm-hmm. and our 2 points are to keep a short list and remember well. So every time I think about this question, I think about the great moments of ministry in every spot that we've been in. We've had 6 forever jobs. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, we really planned on the first one being the only one. And God had different ways to tell us that was not the only one. So, with the first church, it was just the newness of it. People loved us. They put up with a lot of stuff. Yeah. But God poured out a lot of things too at the same time. And then we went to, the Northwest, and it was unchurched. Great experience. Church on, we were church in the box because we unloaded and loaded trailers. But, you baptize people in the river. You just find a way to get it done. Great relationships. But when I think about the greatest moments of ministry, it's probably after my children got old enough to be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And just taking, my son and I went to Africa together, and to see God pour out on him, the second generation, was just amazing to watch. I have one moment where my mother had passed away, and I'd spent 3 weeks trying to unpack my dad's life, and just had never experienced the loss. And was in church and felt like I needed to be there, senior guy, you know how we are. Yeah, yeah. And the worship leader hit the first chord, and I folded. I thought, I'm not going to be able to finish this day. Right. And kind of recovering myself, just weeping so hard, grieving. And all my kids, all of a sudden, were just around me. They weren't touching me. And I realized immediately that they had picked up the mantle. Yeah. Yeah. And just a great moment. I know it doesn't really talk about big church moments, but it was just one of those moments that I'll always remember. So I think you just try to remember the things well.
How'd you do it? So many pastors' families, their kids grow up and they resent the church. Dad was always at the church. He never had time for church. That's all we ever got to. How'd you raise your family to where they're at today, where, like I said, your 3 sons all involved in pastoring, your daughter deeply involved in the church, loving the church. What'd you do?
I don't know. We just never decided that we had a plan B. Yeah. we're first generation believers. Linda and I both are, and so we just promoted at home what we were doing in church. We didn't.
Church wasn't Sunday morning.
It wasn't professional. We weren't professionals.
Yeah.
We didn't know how to be professionals.
Yeah.
So it had to work at home as well as it had to be at church. So they always wanted to go. In fact, there's a lot of times that PKs will say, "Dad, don't use me anymore for an illustration," and mine would get in line at breakfast and fight about which one I should use.
Wow.
Oh, tell them this one. Tell them this one.
Yeah.
And they go through their junior high years, and the youth group is much better somewhere else. There's prettier girls. And so you have to stay in that line and go, you can go anywhere you want to, but Wednesday you're here.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you don't like the people that are here, go invite some more.
Yeah.
And then you'll like them.
Yeah.
And so they went through those years as well, and then you just release them. It may be the hardest thing, but yet the strongest thing we did was release our kids in their anointing, in their call, and not try to overmanage that.
Okay, 4 kids, right?
4. Daughter and 3 boys.
Talk about their uniqueness. You talk about releasing them in their anointing. The anointing's not the same on each one of them.
Oh, no.
It's very different.
Tasha, the oldest, wasn't the preacher.
Yeah.
She loved music.
Yeah.
And she was a one-on-one person. Cody is just out there. There's a crowd of people. He's going to be in the center of it. We thought Robbie was going to be either an evangelist or a drug dealer. We didn't know which one. And then Jeffrey just carried kind of a prophetic. When he was in the 6th grade, he was going to reach his generation. Mm-hmm. And, it was, as a dad, you want to go, you might want to tone that down for just a minute. Maybe you need to be a 6th grader.
Yeah.
Go through junior high, and then let's talk about it.
Wow.
But his heart was, so he was always trying to find that way to impact and influence his generation. So each one of them, you just celebrate their gifts. They go to camp, they find worship camp, or they find these different things, and you embrace that. You relish that. And then I take trips with them. They'd go with me. Yeah. And some specific things.
So where are the 4 kids today?
Tasha's here in town.
Yeah.
She's her and her husband are here with their 2 kids. Cody, our oldest son, is in Ohio. He's been pastoring there for 6 years. Got 4 children. Married to Deborah. Both of them in full-time ministry. Robbie is in Idaho. As my youngest son Jeffrey is the senior pastor at the church. Robbie is the executive pastor.
Wow!
So that's fun.
What a team! You got you got these 2. Your 2 sons, 2 brothers, and they're working together, building a church.
And, they room together their whole life. They're 14 months apart. So you can imagine what that staff meeting looks like.
Man, that is so great. So when you visit your sons, if I ask you this question, I said, okay, Rob, what's the top 3 things you tell your pastor sons to hold on to? What do you tell them?
I tell them every time, don't treat ministry like it's an all-you-can-eat buffet and you have to eat it all today.
Wow.
Pace and rhythm.
Talk about pace and rhythm.
Well,
I love
pace
that.
and rhythm.
Yeah.
I fought for balance. I was always out of balance. The kids were getting older. They had more demands. So you had family, you had your wife, you had Linda. You want to keep that relationship healthy. You have the church. If the church is growing, there's plenty of meetings to go to. And so balance was, okay, I'm going to go to this game, and then I'm going to go over here, and then Tasha's going to do this, and then Linda and I are going out for dinner, and then I'm going to meet with these 2 board members at 11 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. And we're going to call that balance. And that's it's just crazy. So pace and rhythm is, we're in this season now where our kids demand more of our time. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have to find that. My youngest son right now is in a transition in his church, been there 8 years. He's in that transition now to the next level. And, I said, hey, don't start all your vision statements in summer. Everybody else is taking summer off. Go to a game. Mm-hmm. So he took his staff. We were up there. He took his staff to a minor league baseball game. They ate popcorn. Kids all got ice cream. And he goes, Dad, that was brilliant. And so it's just about pace and rhythm. And then I tell them, don't be a professional. Always be a pastor.
Yeah.
The tendency, especially with, Cody took a church and right during COVID hit, and he had to, kind of rotate and spin on the dime and get things going online and out in the open air. But his church has been really blessed. I mean, he's really grown. His budget's grown. His congregation's grown. His influence has grown. And so the challenge is don't be a professional with all that. You got to still be a pastor every day. So I called him yesterday in the airport, and he's in the book of Jonah. And I said, man, tough book, but go for it, champ.
Yeah.
But what I appreciated about it is he has reserved his day to prepare his heart for the right things.
Wow.
During a building program and all that. So those are probably the key things: is rhythm and pace, and then don't be a professional, be a pastor.
Well, I know your heart is full and glad at watching the people that your children have grown up to be. That's one of the most rewarding parts of life.
I would say, it's got to be in I don't know what the top 5 are, but it's got to be in one of those where, being married 44 years is pretty much amazing. Obviously, salvation.
Yeah.
But seeing your kids develop and then getting a chance to see your grandkids develop. I've got 12 grandkids, and I think 10 of them, 9 of them have been baptized.
Wow.
And they're all, finding their way up. Some of them are old enough now that one wants to be a missionary, the other one is in a speaking thing, and so you just go,
okay, God.
You know what, God, you're going to meet the next generation.
Wow, that is so good. Well, I started by asking you what was the most enjoyable season. Talk to me about the storms. We all go through storms, ministry storms, church storms. Churches ebb and flow. Mm-hmm. It's not always positive. We have to go through some negative times. What have you experienced when it comes to storms?
Well, obviously, the highs are very enjoyable, and the valleys. A valley is, the distance between two mountaintops.
Right. But that's where the growth takes place, really.
And that's where it is. You walk through the shadows. You don't walk to them. And in that, you have to find the heart of God again. I would think as a lead pastor, probably the hardest things have been hiring the wrong people.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I don't want to be mean about it, but, sometimes we hire wrong and we keep them too long.
Yeah.
And so I've probably, there's another thing would be probably hit the brake when I should have hit the gas on a couple of things I can think about. I think God was saying go, and I was saying not now, because I was playing it safe.
Yeah.
You take so much time to gather the ground that if we're not careful, we start feeling like it's our ground.
What makes us play it safe?
I think the longer you stay in it, the more fearful we can become. When I first started out, Jackie, I was ready to take on hell with a water pistol. I mean, it was just whatever God's doing today, let's go do it. And then you realize people get hurt, there's changes and challenges, leaders don't always stay with you, not everybody starts with you, stays with you, and so I think that begins to create a narrative. Even if you're reading the Word, you're in it, you're every day, I think you start building a narrative of what if it doesn't work? Mm-hmm. And if you do that too much, then you miss an opportunity. Mm-hmm. And there are times I believe that the windows of opportunity open and they shut.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
I don't think God punishes us, but I do think children of Israel cost him 40 years. So I don't think he's done that with anything we've done. But there's been a time you just go, we had an all-in moment. We didn't put it all in. We just didn't go all in.
So a big part of what I'm hearing you say is that we have got to be so sensitive to the leadership of God's Spirit that we don't hold back, but at the same time we're careful, but we take the risk when the timing is right.
Yeah.
We step into the opportunities.
Yeah, I think there's times when we get a green light and we want it to be greener.
Right.
It doesn't get any, stop at a stoplight, it doesn't get any more green. Green means go, and I think there's times in my life that I've said, we need to hit the gas. I'm still holding the brake a little bit.
You know, I always find myself trying to find this balance between resources and vision.
Yeah.
I had a lot of vision, but resources is kind of what kept me at bay. And we can't wait on all the resources to be available. Faith plays a part.
Right.
Sometimes we have to just step out in faith and believe the resources are going to follow.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that's part of the dance that senior leaders feel more than anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, a staff guy wants his budget or her budget. They just want to know what their boundaries are. There's only a few of us that know what Monday feels like, really.
Right.
I mean, we operate in faith, but you want to know what the results were for the week. And, you know, back in the day, it was week to week. And the church grows, it gets healthy, but it's still, how much is enough? I don't know. Let's take another offering and find out.
Yeah.
And so you do run into that. And the zeros begin to add. I mean, you started Church on the Rock with one building, and now you've got a complex and other satellite works and the Dream Center. And that just takes a lot more zeros.
Yeah.
It still takes the same amount of faith, and sometimes the zeros lag. They just do.
They do.
And, you know, if you're not careful, you start playing to the budget instead of to the burden. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of an alliteration there, but you know what I mean.
Okay, you've been a lot of places, you've seen a lot of things, you've been in a lot of different positions. If there was one, is there one thing that you wish pastors would hear today that maybe they've not heard before? One word of counsel, one word of wisdom, one word of advice. What would you give them today?
Wow, that's a tall question. This too shall pass. You know, some of it is I probably spend as a leader more sleepless nights than needed.
Yeah.
I thought my position on the wall was worry. I called it prayer.
Yeah.
It was spirit of concernment. So it sounds cheesy, but whatever doesn't kill you will make you stronger.
That's good.
I just think what you tell leadership is, again, it's that pace and rhythm is we don't step to the plate with two strikes.
Right.
And one chance to swing at the bat. We have a season, and you pay millions and millions of dollars to people who hit it 1 out of 4 times.
Right.
So swing the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Final question. Let me ask you this, and this comes to my mind because of the state of the church in America today. There have been a number of failures. Guys that maybe became celebrity pastors, whatever word you want to use, but because of their notoriety, everyone knows about it now. And there's all of this negativity towards the church because of the failures. What has kept you in the place where you're finishing strong? And the reason I'm asking this, I'm no better than anyone else. I am as vulnerable and susceptible to falling in sin, to falling into a problem as anyone on the face of the earth. What do you do to keep yourself strong, to protect yourself from the enemy's design upon your life?
Right. I think you serve with the end in mind. Keep your eyes on your own prize.
Yeah.
God gave you one wife.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to look at in this world. There's only one thing we ought to see.
Right.
And that doesn't absolve us from not looking. It doesn't absolve us from not being tempted. It just means we have to stay at that strong. You know, obviously some accountability helps.
Yeah.
I think the higher you get as a leader and the larger you get in an organization as a leader, the more discretionary time that you have. Mm-hmm. And you become a little bit like King David.
Yeah.
You know, king's supposed to be out to war. I'm taking this season off. And what do you know? There's somebody there to entertain me and my thoughts. And, you know, you fall into the rabbit hole. So I think always guard your heart. staying accountable, and eat off your own plate.
Yeah. You use the word accountability. I'm going to close with that for just give me a couple of seconds here. Here at the E3 Network, man, we don't have a lot of bells and whistles. We're basically a network of relationships. And what I strive to do is build a network where we can be honest with one another, we can be transparent, and we can be accountable to one another. Nobody succeeds in this world by themselves. Everyone needs some help. And that's what we want to try to provide through E3. If you're a pastor, if you're a church leader, and we can help you in any way possible, let us know. That's why we're here. Rob, thanks, man. Thanks for being with me today. I appreciate you and love you and value the relationship that God's given us through the years.
I so do appreciate it.
Amen. Well, thanks for watching today. Hope you have a blessed day.